Hello and welcome back to another video. I'm Zelp and today we are going to look at which Warframe has the highest EHP if two survivability mods were to be equipped. Now the survivability mods have to be something that increases either shields, health, or armor. We're not going to put in other things like adaptation, quick thinking, because these things are very conditioned. And also, if you really think about it, if you have a high enough EHP, those things still going to apply to you equally. So technically, with or without, or you can always think of having a separate slot for those things and it will work the same. So the one with the highest EHP will still benefit from those kind of thing the most. Specific mods like those that we talked about, and also rolling guard is also kind of tied to your playstyle and the type of Warframe. And when you want to talk about playstyle Warframe and then look at Warframe abilities, the variables become just too much, and that's something that we're not going to look at here. A lot of people have talked about how Nidus is actually really tanky. I do really agree, because if you can get enough stacks, he has some kind of like damage reduction that makes him super good. But the problem is, if you want to take into account abilities, then we have a whole different rabbit hole that we have to dig through. Like, what about frames that have complete immunity to damage? Things like Valkyrie, for example. How do we judge that? Or Limbo. We have also abilities like Rhino and Nada's sort of like Iron Skin thing. And then what about Titania's, small hitbox when she uses her ult, or Zephyr's ability to bounce things off and also mess as one. There are just too many to take into account. So just like what I said in the last video, this whole EHP thing is really about if you were to just get into the game and AFK at the spot, how many hits can you take before you die? It can be kind of unfair because there are some really good frames that are super tanky, but they have to rely on their abilities, or rather their abilities is what makes them tanky. But today the video is not about that. I need to make that clear because a lot of people commented in the last video, not in a very aggressive way, because most of you guys do see what I'm going through. You understand that we can't tackle all the variables. So what I did here is I took yesterday's spreadsheet, I introduced 6 new columns, one tree for the new tree multipliers for the health, the shields, and the armor. Because if you put a mod in, you're going to increase its original rank 30 health or shields or armor by a certain amount. So those are the amount increase, which is the multiplier. And then another 3 columns for the new health, the new shields, and the new armor after the increase. Then we calculate the EHP based on the new health, new shields, and new armor, and then plus them together, you get the total EHP. So introducing 6 new columns, you do kind of need to fill up the health multiplier, shield multiplier, and armor multiplier yourself, because since the level or rank 30 health, shields, and armor is fixed on each individual Warframe, so you don't really have to do anything there. The calculations for the new shields, new health, and new armor is also the same, so you don't have to do anything there as well. The only thing that you kind of need to meddle with is the part where I also sort of highlighted in, what's this color, peach? Like for example, Loki, if you feel like you want to put in a maxed out vitality, then you just put in a 4.4, which is what vitality gives, 440% armor. The calculation has taken into account its original, so instead you don't have to put things here like 5.4 in order to include its original health. So just put in 4.4, that will do. Now in the last video I asked you guys to vote. Do you want me to have 2 mods for survivability, mainly again health, shields, or armor, on this particular build, or 3? Majority of you guys, out of those that I've read about 15 hours after that the last video was released, majority of you guys said 2 mods, which is great, because if it was 3, it's going to be hell. I never actually thought this through, but I actually have to try one by one each individual Warframe to see which one gives the highest EHP and use those mods. So it's actually more time consuming and tedious than you think. But what's interesting here is that I find that there isn't an opening for me to use things like Vagor, because Vagor does increase shields and health as well, both at 120%. It's just that in most cases, the Warframe either benefit so much more from a vitality and a redirection than a vitality and vigor, for example. Because if health is the thing that makes it a lot better, then armor is going to make it a lot better as well. So it'd be way better to go with vitality and steel fiber. And if shield is the thing that makes it strong, as we calculated in the last video, that the shield gain with the 25% damage reduction is equal to 100 armor, and the lowest armor Warframe can have is 100. This means that if shield is the king, or the main thing that makes it strong, then its health is equivalent as good as the shields. Therefore, making it even better in most cases, not all cases, there is one exception which we'll talk about in just a bit, but in most cases that 440% from vitality, which increases health, even if you don't have like super a lot of health, it's still better than using redirection and vigor. Now, since we are limited to 2 mods, I prepared at least 2 of each kind. So for health, we have vitality, which is 440%, and we also have gladiator resolve that gives you 180%. And in most of the cases, again, there doesn't seem to be a reason to use the resolve, because if health is a good thing to have, then its armor is going to maybe double the effectiveness of health. So therefore, having steel fiber is just so much better. And if shield is the main concern, and shield we do have another one other than redirection, we also have a auger accord. And because of reasons that we mentioned before, it seems like having vitality is even better, except, now this is the exception, Hildren. Hildren has just so much more shields relative to his health that having the auger accord and a redirection actually makes her EHP a lot higher. And as for armor, we also have things like agile armor and also gladiator aegis for an extra an extra 45% armor, and those doesn't seem to work well either. Okay, so this is what I have so far. You can see that most of the cases having 1 redirection and 1 vitality at max rank is way better, but there are some exceptions, especially if your armor is okay-ish high and you have also good health. So in this case, let's say Neza will benefit more if instead of trying to boost the 150 shields that he has, you go for the armor, and increasing the armor and the health seems to give him a little bit more EHP. Now, but I know what you guys want to know. You guys want to know who is the first. So let me just rearrange this. Inaros is still the first. Now, Hildren has dropped. She was at 2nd place, but because most of her tankiness comes from her shields, she now goes down 1 level, and Grandel actually became 2nd because his shield gave his health a lot more value with the mods on. But I feel like what's more interesting is Nidus. Nidus climbed up way a lot. Like in the first spreadsheet that we have, Nidus was at the 20th place in the list, and he came all the way up to 5th place. And the reason is also very similar to what happened to Grandel. It's because of his armor and his health. Having vitality and steel fiber on just really greatly improve what he can do. And obviously, if you really think about it, if he has all that maximum stack thing going on, then he would be probably or possibly close to the #1 spot. The reason why is because I feel like Inaros, even though it has a huge and crazy amount of EHP at 30k EHP, the mod's requirement for Inaros does not really concern a lot of things. Like, it feels like, you know, range, maybe power strength and things like that doesn't really apply to him as much as other Warframes. Therefore, I feel like for Inaros, you kind of could put more survivability mods on Inaros. Inaros, at least to me, feels like a very weapon-based Warframe. Another one that also got a really good buff because of just 2 survivability mods is Valkyrie. Now Valkyrie, if you look at the old EHP sheet, she is all the way down here. Wait, Valkyrie Prime is at the 14th place. And the reason why she's all the way down here is because although she has a lot of armor, her health is not good enough to boost that up, to make it even better. But after adding vitality, that increases her health a lot more, and plus another steel fiber to increase the armor even more, she managed to get her EHP close to 10k. And those that are within the 10k is only a few. Okay, now let me scroll down and show you guys the list. If you want to, I will put this down at the comments again, just like yesterday, so that you can click in and play with it. All you have to do is just fill in. Don't change anything else. Just change these value. What you can do, because the link is probably going to be a link where you cannot alter the things, so you have to copy everything, put it in your own spreadsheet or Excel, and then play with it from there. And the mods that you want to play with is probably these mods. You have the health mods: Vitality, Gladiator, Resolve, Vigor. Shields will be Redirection, Augur, Accord, and Vigor. And for armor is Steel Fiber, Armor, Agility, or what is it called? Gladiator, Aegis. This is for 2, right? This is for 2. If you want to have more mods on, you can. It's just that it will be very much more tedious, in my opinion. And also make sure that if you put in Vigor, you have to increase the other side as well, because there's one mod that increases both sides for health and shields. Now, the trial and error that took me to find a combination that gives the highest EHP did take me a while, and it's kind of tedious. I'm not too sure if I made any mistakes, so look through carefully and think for yourself. If you feel like there's any of it that you feel I made a mistake, just let me know down in the comments. I can edit it straight away. So don't just base off what you see on the screen right now, but maybe click on the link and go in and see. So if there's any changes, it'll be changed in the link itself, so it'll be more up to date. Now, the last thing that I want to talk about is probably has something to do with rage mods and that other adrenaline something mod, where for every health that you take, every health damage that you take, you gain energy. If you're going for that kind of build, you might want to consider pumping your health instead of shields. You know what, in fact, let's take a look at this one over here at number 26. We have Oberon Prime. Okay, if you look all the way to the left, you'll see, you know, just for this, I think I can maybe make a circle around it so that you can see it properly. So you can see that it has 5.7k EHP. If I want to go for a rage build, what I would do, I'm teaching you this so that when you get my spreadsheet, you can kind of do this and mess around theory crafting by yourself. Okay, you can actually think of putting, what if you put in a steel fiber, you get 5.6. Before, with this, we have 5.7, so it's a little bit higher, just a little bit. However, Oberon has abilities that he can heal himself with, so maybe you don't want this and you want to put something like a rage on, or that something adrenaline thing, which I still don't remember, and then put in the armor instead, put in steel fiber instead. So although overall it has a little less EHP, but I feel like this is a better build for Oberon Prime. Okay, that is it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. Feel free to take the spreadsheet, play it around. If you see any mistakes, let me know down in the comments. I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye bye.